Welcome, friends, to a brand new studio show entitled BEARCATS Unlimited. My name is Ethan Herzog. That's Chase Younts. That's Aidan Riggs. And we have lots of opinions about Cincinnati sports, and we think that we're pretty knowledgeable about these things. And to test that theory, you know what we're going to do? We're going to talk about some football and the fact that Cincinnati came away with probably an unexpected win against the Kansas Jayhawks coming up just a couple days ago on Saturday.
Yeah, as it stands right now, it's definitely the biggest win of the season so far for Cincinnati. Going to Lawrence, Kansas, and coming away with a 37-34 victory. First win in Big 12 play in their opening game of their conference slate. They've got a bunch of games ahead of them, but this was a really strong start for the Bearcats. They had a ton of offensive yards, 603 in total. Second game of this season with over 600 yards of offense. First win against Kansas ever since 1997. And you look at one of the stars, Brendan Sorsby, 388 yards. That's a season high so far. His fourth 300-yard game of his career at Cincinnati. You look at Cyrus Allen, he had over 128 yards in the air, made that crucial catch to extend the game-winning drive they scored in the final 2 minutes of the game. Now it's back-to-back seasons where you start conference play 1-0. This is the start the Bearcats want. If they want to continue momentum as they get some bigger games going during Big 12 play, this was what they needed.
And you look at the momentum and you look at how they won this game against Kansas. You look at Brendan Sorsby, the transfer quarterback, came from Indiana. He has had an incredible 2 seasons at Cincinnati right now. Over 1,000 yards so far this season, 10 touchdowns. It's been incredible to watch Brendan Sorsby so far.
I've got a stat for you, Ethan. So when Brendan Sorsby runs the ball 10 times or more, the Bearcats were 0-5 going into this game. But this was the first time in which the Bearcats won a game when Brendan Sorsby ran the ball over 10 times. And when he throws the football, man, he's been doing so good this year. Again, 388 yards this past game. Ever since the first game of the season against Nebraska, it was tough. They threw for 69 yards. Just stuff wasn't looking well. They almost won the game. He threw an interception. But then they played Bowling Green. Was able to get back on track, threw for over 350 yards. And then he had a perfect game. No baseball reference, but he had a perfect game on the field, 15 for 15, had 5 touchdowns, and also had a rushing touchdown. He was fantastic. But to come off the bye, go on the road in a newly built, revamped Kansas Stadium, it is awesome to see how Sorsby is able to play. He has been able to play calm, composed, sets his feet very well. And he's just letting that thing fly. He's got some great receivers out there that are stepping up and answering the call.
And you mentioned that one interception. That one interception, that's it. That's all that Brendan Sorsby has thrown all season was that interception against Nebraska. And it can't be slighted, too, that Brendan Sorsby has a plethora of talent around him, not only just the wide receivers and the running backs, but the offensive line. We have to talk about this offensive line. Only 1 sack allowed against Kansas.
That was the first time since November 23rd of 2024 that Kansas had less than 2 sacks in a game. That was a strong defense from the Jayhawks. This Bearcats offensive line has improved year over year ever since Scott Satterfield got here. To see their improvement, to get a number like that in this game, to start off Big 12 play, it's a great start for them.
That was a big question, too, with their offensive line. They lost a lot of people from last year that were, starters for multiple years, and then they went out in the transfer portal and got some good pieces from some mid-major schools, FCS schools as well. But they've done such a great job of protecting the quarterback, but they've also done a great job of establishing a run game up front and winning the line of scrimmage. Evan Pryor, Towie Walker. It's been awesome to see how the Bearcats have been able to be a multifaceted football team and can beat you in many different ways.
I'm excited to see as well Cyrus Allen as we head into this next week's matchup. Cincinnati taking on Iowa State. It's the 3rd time ever these 2 teams have played. Iowa State leads the series 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge game for the Bearcats. You can put it right up there with biggest home game of the year. Iowa State's going to come in. It's a top 15 in the nation, top 15 team in the nation. Favorites to go to Dallas right now to play in the Big 12 championship. The Cats got that big win in Kansas. They need to continue that momentum and continue to show what they have. I'm thinking around, and you look at what Scott Satterfield has done in his tenure at Cincinnati. The thing he's really struggled with is winning those home Big 12 games. He's had success on the road. You think that opening year, only win was at Houston. Last year, you started to get some wins under your belt. If you can come in this year and win your first Big 12 home game against a ranked opponent, could really find a spark for this team.
Am I wrong to say that this is the biggest game of Scott Satterfield's tenure as a Bearcats coach?
It certainly feels like it.
It certainly feels like it. I mean, the last time Cincinnati welcomed a ranked opponent to Neinaber Stadium, 2023, Oklahoma. They played them close. They have a game on their hands coming up against Iowa State, coming up on Saturday at noon on ESPN2, national television for Scott Satterfield's Bearcats.
Yeah, and they look at it, they're playing against a very good Cyclones team, led by a quarterback that's been there in his third year in Rocco Becht, averaging 220 yards passing a game, has 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He played against the Cincinnati team in 2023 and had a lot of success down the field. So what the Bearcats are going to have to do, they're going to have to get pressure on him, they're going to have to disrupt him, can't let him get out of the pocket and trap him. It's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, and when you look back at that Kansas game, that was the first game-winning touchdown the Bearcats had in the final 2 minutes of a game ever since 2020. It feels like in the past few years, the Bearcats wouldn't have won a close game like that going down the stretch. They proved that they can do it last week. If they get themselves that situation this upcoming week, they can do it once again.
Now the Bearcats, one final time, they will take on Iowa State at noon on Saturday on ESPN2. And we're going to take a jump from the gridiron to the pitch and the volleyball court coming up right after the break.
We got 2 minutes. Just a little quick.
I thought we were long.
I thought we were long.
Wait,
I thought we were long.
Okay. Went long.
That felt long.
It was. I had it at 6:15 when we just started.
Oh.
That's not bad.
I didn't know you did
did
I
that.
thought that meant wrap it up.
Oh well, he said to start going to break,
Oh.
but I should have just kept telling you guys.
It's all right. No, you're
all
good.
good.
It's all right. It's all right.
No, it's fine.
It's all
We're
good.
chilling.
Yeah.
This means we got extra time for basketball.
That's
Yeah,
It's all good.
yeah.
We'll fill the time in basketball.
We'll
Don't
fill
worry.
it. We'll fill it. We're
Don't
good.
worry.
That's probably where we need to.
We're good.
Yeah, definitely where we need to
30
in
seconds
basketball.
faster.
It's all good.
How much time? Sorry?
Huh?
How much time?
You still have a
We
minute
get it,
left.
man.
Okay.
Are we going break in between soccer volleyball? Or
No, we're just going straight through.
Roll straight through. Okay, cool.
This is a next time.
Next time.
I add in the break.
Okay, makes sense.
I will give you a minute left for that Big 12 tournament. 45 seconds.
Okay, perfect.
And then you guys can move into volleyball about a minute after I show you this.
Okay.
So that should be about 5 minutes in is when we'll move to soccer.
All right, perfect.
And I'll try and hold up like
Soccer
4
to volleyball.
minutes to show
Yep.
you.
Okay.
Coming back to a full screen.
Okay.
20 seconds. 15. 10. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome back to Bearcats Unlimited, brand new studio show coming to you from the depths of the College Conservatory of Music. And we're taking a look at the Cincinnati Bearcats women's schedule. The next 5 matches coming up: Arizona State, Arizona, and UCF all at home. Triple home match bonanza, if you will. And then heading on the road to Kansas, they'll take on Kansas State first, and then the ranked number 14 Kansas Jayhawks on October 19th. But this season for Cincinnati women's soccer has been something that has left much to be desired, if one could say.
It's been a little disappointing, and those 3 home games might be exactly what they need. 0-2-1 to start off conference play, only picking up 1 point on the road, and that was at Utah. But when you look at that non-conference schedule, too, they played some strong teams. You got number 7, Notre Dame, you played on the road. You also welcomed Xavier in. You went on the road to Pitt. You're only able to take 1 really draw out of those games. It's a disappointing stretch for the Bearcats. When you look at what's going on right now, though, when they've only got 1 point right now, they're sitting last in the Big 12. The question is really on the offense. They've only had 1 goal scored in conference play right now. That was by Coley Sidlowski. But when you look at the shot totals, when it comes to in Big 12 play, they've only had 13 in total. Their opponents have had 47. They are being outshot like crazy. I mean, the pitch just feels like it's tilted completely in favor of the opponent whenever they're out there. But you need someone to step up. These seniors and players that have returned from a couple years haven't really been shown out. You got names like Ellie Flower and Emma Joffrey. Really need to step up going down the stretch.
You talk about the shot numbers right there. I mean, that is so tough for a defense to just be consistently getting pressured the entire time. It's unbelievable to just have that sort of, pressure and push down that the defense has to handle with. And the offense has to be able to relieve something.
And that's the thing about the Cincinnati defense is that they are really good. They are definitely the staple of this Bearcat team. Faith Broering, one of those who is leading the defense, played summer ball over at Kingshammer FC and USL League W, and is very experienced. Almost had a season-ending or a career-ending injury, I should say. But like to your point, is that Cincinnati lacks the offensive gusto, if you will, and I'm not sure if it's a issue with the front line with the strikers, or if it's an issue in the midfield, where you look at players like Meg Smith, who has been in and out with injury, but you got to find somebody who can be that maestro in the midfield and claim that number 10 spot and create some chances. I mean, not to pull from FC Cincinnati, but you got to find your Evander. You got to be able to find that guy who can create those opportunities, if not score a couple of goals.
The name that I feel like we haven't mentioned that much this year has been Riley Felton. She was the star freshman last year. She's kind of gone off the table a little bit so far this year when it comes to this year's squad. Can she be one of them to step up? One of the things we need to bring up with Big 12 play, need to be top 8 to reach that conference tournament. That's a big goal for this team, is to play in Kansas City at the end of the year. Big 12 is a very strong soccer conference. They're going to play a couple ranked games going down the stretch. They need someone to step up.
Aidan, they haven't been home in 25 days since September 7th against Northern Kentucky. I mean, they have to be able to take care of business when they get back to Gettler Stadium and try to knock out some wins, get some points on the board. They got to be able to have some sort of a push, because I had a talk with Coach Demers before the season started. This is the most depth they've had in a while. They got to go out there and show it, especially at this time of the year in October.
It's definitely something that they're looking for, especially in a 3-match stretch like this, where maybe you can test something, find a way to open up the front line, keep the back line as it is, keep your defense as stout as it is. But I'm going to ask you, Aidan, your Lou City Racing Louisville self that you are, the voice of those two teams, might I add. What are we looking for Cincinnati coming into these 3 matches?
There needs to be some more playmaking. I mean, there really hasn't been much so far. They're kind of just allowing the other team to control play, and some teams like to do that as much as they can, like to let the other team hold onto the ball but feel like they're still in possession. That's what a lot of the teams that I cover like to do. But there's a certain way that you can do that, and it doesn't feel like this team's doing that right now. They're playing way too defensively. They're letting the other team kind of just push up on them, just kind of suffocating the defense that Cincinnati's playing. They're just taking so many shots, having to fend them off for so long. They need some type of playmaking, whether it does come from that midfield spot or someone running up on the wing.
They have great forwards. They got to get them chances to run out there and make some plays like they did last year. I mean, you got to find something at that rate, and you got to be able to exploit these other defenses that you're playing against.
Absolutely, and we're going to take a switch from Gettler Stadium, take a short walk over to Fifth Third Arena. Let's talk about volleyball. Chase, sideline reporter for ESPN Plus here for the women's volleyball team. We look at Cincinnati in 8th, 9-3 on the season so far. A great start for the new head coach at Cincinnati.
It feels different, man. Coach Tomich has been awesome. Just playing against some of these bigger teams like Wake Forest, Alabama, Xavier, West Virginia, and getting those wins has really, reignited a lot of these women on the team. And, just even talking to, Carly Glendenning before the season started, she had to realize and refine the game that she loved. She's coming out here playing awesome, all right, at 18 kills on Saturday, and Sydney Nolan had 19 kills as well, and they both had over a 40% hit percentage. So, I mean, they've been playing out of their minds, and there are other women on this roster who have done such a great job, but Coach Tomich has really put and instilled a great core values and a mindset that has perced throughout the entire team.
And I don't want to short sell Andy Spees. 50 assists on Saturday against West Virginia is nuts. I'm a big defensive guy. I love my setters as a former volleyball player. Fantastic. If you don't have a good setter, you're not going to get much success out of a volleyball team. Spees has been absolutely phenomenal so far this season, and I expect her to keep showing up and showing out for the Bearcats.
One of the things when you brought in Coach Tomich, the idea there was that you wanted to succeed in the Big 12. You'd seen those first 2 years Cincinnati had there, weren't having the success they needed. Volleyball is a sport that's on the come up right now. The entire country, Cincinnati wants to lead the way in that charge to make it a bigger deal. And bringing her in with all the experience she had, she took the players Cincinnati had, and she's getting the most out of them. You talk about Carly Glendenning, you talk about Sydney Nolan. In that game against West Virginia, 37 combined kills. Cincinnati had 61 as a team. They are leading the charge everywhere for this Bearcats team, and it's just been really impressive to see the fire that she's given to this squad.
And this roster has shuffled around a lot of different people from a lot of different walks of life at that rate. You have some fifth-year seniors. You've got some freshmen that are even getting some time in Lambert and Crummel and other players as well. I mean, this has been, a melting pot collection of things that has cooked up something very nicely through the first 12 games of the season, and excited to see what this team has going for the Big 12. It's going to be fun to see.
It's going to be absolutely fun to see, as simply put as that. And we have some big matches coming up, too, for Cincinnati. I mean, coming up in the next couple of days as well, and you have a couple of ranked opponents as well coming up. BYU, one of them, namely. They're ranked 19th in the country. They're the only Big 12 team that's ranked at the moment in the national polls. But what does this team have to do or keep doing as the season progresses?
I mean, they're going to have to get, again, those other players involved, but they're going to be riding the coattails of Carly Glendenning and Sydney Rowland. Those outside hitters can do such a great job of just getting those kills, and Andy Spees setting them up, and other players are able to step up defensively, whether it be a rotation of the liberos going throughout the roster. This team can go very, very far under this first-year coach in Tomich.
You kind of hit it earlier. This team feels prepared for Big 12 play. They played that strong non-conference schedule. Wake Forest, Michigan, Xavier, Alabama. These are power conference teams. These are big name wins that Cincinnati has on the schedule. They feel prepared to play some of these ranked opponents like BYU. You've got strong programs like Arizona State also on the schedule. They feel ready for it.
Yeah, you got to take care of business at home. Again, they have these next two games at home. They're on the road for a little bit. They see West Virginia is going to really want that revenge next week, but, they got to be able to take care of business at home. They got to make fifth, third a place where it's going to be tough for any team to come in. When you go on the road, you can avoid the distractions. When you come back home, you get to rally around and have your home crowd and everybody else get behind you and get that energy in the Big 12. It is a conference where you cannot take a night off, and it is such a competitive league, and the Bearcats know it, and they're going to try to push for it.
And that's the crazy thing about the Big 12, is that along with the Big 10 is the volleyball conference when it comes to Division I college volleyball, but the Big 12 is right there. They are right there, and you look at some of these teams who have designated volleyball arenas. Kansas State comes to mind. They have a fantastic facility. Not saying that Fifth Third Arena is bad, because it's not. It's lovely. It is, full bias, one of my favorite arenas of all time. But that being said, Cincinnati has made big jumps in attendance as well, and we've seen that in the Xavier game and every other game past that as well.
When you look at some of the other programs that are in the area, I think of the University of Louisville and University of Kentucky. Those are two teams that have been to the Final Four in volleyball recently, and you're really competing against them when it comes to recruiting of players in this area. I know that that's a big deal to Coach Tomich to really own the Cincinnati area. And I make that a bigger deal of getting fans out there so that people know the Cincinnati volleyball program is a big deal.
If you play well, they will come. And they've came to the stadium and the arena, and they have showed up, showed out. The Bearcats are balling.
We're building the field of dreams, and we're going to step away from the volleyball court and step on to the hardwood coming up. Men's, women's basketball preview. The schedule's dropped. New rosters to look at coming up. We'll see you after the break. I like that.
I love that.
I feel like that was a better block, too, than the first one, too.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
was.
definitely.
That felt
Definitely was.
smoother.
It definitely
Yeah.
was.
I feel like we're more comfortable now that we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
We needed that. We needed that first one to
That was a
fail.
good test.
So
that one, yeah.
you planned this. You knew what you were
You
doing.
knew what you were doing.
You knew what you were doing.
Oh, man. I get a text from Justin saying I need like 30 from Jamar tonight. I don't think you're getting that.
Yeah.
You're not even. You may not get 30 yards.
I'm not. Yeah.
No one knowing. They know the no.
We doing all right? We doing cool?
We good?
Yeah, we do good.
We doing good?
Chilling?
You guys are great on time. We're right
perfect.
at 20 minutes, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, sick.
45 seconds.
Perfect.
Wait, we're right at 20?
Yes, 20 minutes. So 10 more we will be at 20 by when we come back.
So we have 10 minutes for basketball.
Ish. Whatever you guys
It's like we're running.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we're going.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
running.
We'll be at 20 minutes exactly when we come back.
And by the time we're over, that Bengals game's going to start.
Let's go, baby.
There we go. Boom. Boom.
15.
Boom.
Going back to a full screen.
Wait, bring that. I'm just kidding. I'm not doing that.
Bring the boom.
You got it.
10 seconds.
There we go.
Go back to full screen.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Bearcats Unlimited, and boy, oh boy, is this non-conference slate for both men's and women's going to be fantastic. Starting with the women, Lehigh first, then at Penn State for a huge non-conference battle. In the second game of the season, St. Joe's after that. They'll welcome Georgetown from the NAIA after that. Head up to Muncie, Indiana, play Ball State, Canisius, Alabama A&M, New Mexico in the Florida Golf Classic in Fort Myers. On my birthday is actually the first game of that tournament. Then at home for Miami, Xavier, UNLV, and Howard. The Crosstown Shootout coming up on December 7th. Wow. This non-conference slate, and I mean, you look at how Katrina Merriweather has taken this team and morphed it into something special. You can see it in how she's scheduling these games to prepare this team for the conference slate.
I mean, they've got some games that are really going to beef up their schedule going down the road. When you look at that true road games at both Ball State and Penn State, they're going to go into some tough environments, especially in Penn State for that one. And of course, this year you had the Crosstown Shootout at home against Xavier, also playing at home against Miami of Ohio. It's that type of play that she's going to really like.
Ethan, man, you got to get that travel going. I tell you, man, you're going to be going around the block a little bit with this team. You've covered this team for a minute, but I mean, look, that freshman class that they got coming in, they've got some studs in there, and it's highlighted by Dee Alexander. Again, she went to Purcell Marion, and she had a lot of accolades. You got a whole scroll that you could probably read off on that one, but again, open that scroll up, and there,
really quick.
Look, she's the prized possession of this program. It's going to be fun to see what she has in her freshman season.
I mean, she's truly something special. A Cincy native, might I start off with, she has pride in this city. She has pride in wearing the Seapaw across her chest. She has pride in wearing the red and black. She's ready to be coached by Katrina Merriweather and her amazing staff, by the way. Absolutely fantastic. One of the only all-female coaching staffs in the Big 12, the only one in the Big 12, and one of 4 in all of Division I college basketball.
I mean, when you talk about the dream player for Katrina Merriweather, it might be Dee Alexander, coming right from Cincinnati. She, as you said, bleeds red and black, just like Katrina did when she came here, decided to take the job. It's exactly who Katrina wants to continue building. She's had some star players for her in her first 2 years. Of course, you think of Jillian Hayes, who had all the accolades herself. She's top 10 in multiple things at Cincinnati. Can Dee Alexander continue that legacy and continue building on that?
If you know, you know, and Dee knows about this UC program and what she's trying to do with it, but at the same time, we know about Dee Alexander's game. She was fantastic. I got a chance to go see her play against Hayden in the Elite Eight of the OHSA tournament en route to her 4th straight state championship that Purcell Marion won, leading them. But, I mean, she can play inside. She can play outside. She impacts the game on so many levels with the ball, moving without the ball. Defensively, she is the full 5-star package, and you guys got to get hooked on to her. We are.
It's the first 5-star player that Cincinnati women's basketball has seen ever in program history. One of the only 5-star recruits coming into Cincinnati ever between men's and women's basketball. And not only her, but you have Kalia DeVillisi, who comes from the East Coast, among 5 other freshmen coming into this class, and a handful of transfers too. You got some international talent coming in, but the one I want to point out the most, Maya Perry. She's a shooter that Cincinnati was missing. When you look at Cincinnati, Katrina Merriweather married the dribble drive. That is the offensive scheme that they see, but having the chance to shoot may not be a bad thing.
And that's where you kick it to Reagan Jackson. She's going to have to be big from the outside, shooting the 3, handling the ball, and she's one of the few people that are back on this roster that have that experience, and it's going to be exciting to see how she develops going forward and taking on that leadership role.
And you mentioned the dribble drive being the main part of this offense. And I mentioned her earlier, Jillian Hayes will not be part of this team. She could really kind of spearheaded that offensive attack. And if I'm not wrong, I think that Cincinnati was bottom 5 in the Big 12 last year when it came to 3-point shooting percentage. When you bring in those players who can knock down that 3, it can make this offense look a lot better.
Now, we're going to stay in Fifth Third Arena. We're going to switch from the women's side to the men's side. And we're going to take a look at the men's non-conference schedule. And, oh my gosh, look at this. You've got so many quad 1 games coming up. Now, you have Dayton, massive rivalry. Louisville, massive rivalry. Xavier, do I even need to say any more about that? Georgia in the Holiday Hoops Giving on December 13th. Clemson in the Greenville Winter Invitational. Man, how exciting is this non-conference schedule coming up?
It's those power opponents, I think, is the thing that really stands out about this. It's something that hasn't been there in the past with the Cincinnati non-conference schedule. You've got Clemson, you've got Georgia, you've got Xavier, Louisville. You can even throw Dayton in there because they could be considered a power conference. Depending on who you ask, they could be considered one of those teams. But it's the quality of the schedule. It's those quad one wins. That's the story of college basketball nowadays, is quad one. You need as many as you can get. Cincinnati's put them on the schedule.
That Bearcats team, they were able to get some big wins to start last season off, and they were ranked as high as 14, but at the same time, you got to be able to do what you can in Big 12 play, after that non-conference slate. It's going to be interesting to see how this new roster can put it together.
It's a new roster consisting of 7 transfers, 5 freshmen, and just 3 returners. 1 starter, Day Thomas, is the only returning starter for Cincinnati. Everybody else left. Dan Skillings is gone. Josh Reed is gone. Dylan Mitchell is gone. Aziz Bandago graduated.
The list goes on and on.
The list goes on and on. I mean, and that's sadly just kind of how college sports works. It's the transfer portal game now. Who's going to pay you more and all that? And that's a different debate for another time.
That's true.
But you look at this Cincinnati roster, but there's a potential for a lot of molding under Wes Miller.
You bring up the transfer portal. It's something that Wes Miller has really embraced. In the past couple years, he brought in a ton of guys. Almost everyone you really mentioned there came in as a transfer to Cincinnati. Now you look at the guys they're bringing in now: Kirk Risa, Sincere Harris, Jalen Haynes. They're coming from these big-name programs as well. Kentucky, West Virginia, Baylor, UCF, all power conference transfers. These are guys with experience at the highest level of college basketball, and they bring it to Cincinnati.
And they bring some international players in as well that have played at a very high level, professional overseas. So, and the thing about international players, those guys are usually very well constructed when it comes to the fundamentals of the game, shooting, working on that stuff that you need to build up as time goes on to create a great basketball player in a great process. So, bringing in those guys to kind of mix together and try to build a great team under Wes Miller, who's in year 5. It's a needed year. We're going to put it just, very blatantly right now. He needs to have a good season under this team. No NCAA tournament appearances. And, we don't know how hot the seat's getting, but it's definitely warming up.
The last time these Bearcats were in the NCAA tournament, Mick Cronin was the head coach before he took the job at UCLA back in 2019. Since then, the Bearcats have been to the NIT twice and been in the Crown Tournament, the new Crown Tournament, once. I think the fans are itching for an NCAA tournament berth.
It feels like you have to do it this year. There's already a lot of questions in the air about Wes Miller, but they are going to exceed this year if you were to not make the NCAA tournament. You have the players you need to succeed. It's, can you put that winning product onto the floor? The Big 12, every year it's going to be good, but this year especially, if you look at some of these teams, like at Kansas, Houston, it's going to be as strong as it's ever been.
We talk about those transfers, we talk about the foreign players, we talk about the freshmen, and one freshman comes to mind particularly, and Sean Abayev. When you need to be able to get buckets and you got to be able to put the team on your back and give your team some sort of a reason to believe, Sean Abayev's the guy. I'm excited to see how this looks, what the offense is going to try to go through, and how he's able to develop early on in his freshman campaign.
This is definitely a very exciting time for both men's and women's basketball as we enter into their respective seasons coming up in November. But that is just about time for us to wrap things up here in the basement of the College Conservatory of Music. That's Aidan Riggs. That's Chase Younts. I'm Ethan Herzog. Thank you so much for tuning in to tonight's installment of the first episode of Bearcats Unlimited. We'll be back next month, taking a little bit more of a dive into football, volleyball, soccer, and a little bit deeper of a dive as well into basketball, as well as the men and women approach their seasons. One final time, thank you so much to our amazing crew and all of you for tuning in tonight. We will see you all next time.